Listen, we're not horsing around here. The Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week show is coming at you.
The weather has certainly turned chilly, but the playoff action has stayed red hot. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Malone, your host for the Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week show. This past week gave us round one of the high school football playoffs and dozens of prime contests between second and third place teams. Our cameras took in several of those games, so let's start our journey by going down the Ohio River to Beaver Falls. Even the young football fans couldn't miss this double-A meeting between Beaver Falls and Freeport. Beaver Falls scored at will and led early. Late in the first quarter, Seth Andreas with a flea flicker launches the deep ball into a crowd, and tight end Todd Durish comes down with a 37-yard touchdown catch. The razzle-dazzle puts Beaver Falls up 33-0. The same combination struck again minutes later. First and goal from the 9. Andreas finds Durish for his second touchdown of the night. The romp continued in the third quarter when backup quarterback Carlos Cleckley gets into the act, finding flanker Jason Linta behind the defense for this 51-yard touchdown pass. The romp continued into the fourth quarter when senior running back Dorsey Bigstaff takes the pitch for a 19-yard gain down to the 1-yard line. The next play, Bigstaff goes over the top for the score, and Beaver Falls goes on to win this one 58-7 over Freeport. At the single-A level, Rochester played host to Carmichael's, and the fans had plenty to cheer about in the first quarter. The Rochester defense comes out smoking. Jim Varecco and Wade Sarver team up for the sack of Carmichael's quarterback Tom Rico, forcing a punt. With the ball, Rochester's offense goes right to work. Sean Edge gives to Essex Law. The top ground gainer gets outside, only to fumble the football, but teammate Chad Whippo is there to recover and keep the drive alive. Rochester doesn't waste any time getting into the end zone when Sean Edge finds tight end Brendan Bynum for the 9-yard score. Rochester boosts their lead in the third quarter with fullback Dave Mercier jamming it in to the end zone, and Rochester cruises to a 32-0 shutout against Carmichael's. Well, the North Hills Indians were pumped up for their matchup for the Baldwin Highlanders in the Quad A contest. Early in the first quarter, Baldwin's speedy running back Mike Briscoe burst through the line of scrimmage, and nobody's going to catch him. He's off. 50 yards and a touchdown. That set the tone for Baldwin as they were taking part in their first appearance ever for a playoff since 1953. The purple and white defense knew they had to play tough to shut down the North Hills offense, and they did an effective job against the run. Eric Kasperwicz passed for over 1,200 yards in the regular season, but Baldwin had his number with 3 interceptions. This one by junior Bill Collins in the second quarter helped clip the wings of yet another North Hills drive. The Indians' offense did manage to get into the end zone before the half, with halfback Tom Morelli picking up the 6 points. But Baldwin added a field goal from Chris Burnett and another touchdown from Mike Briscoe to pull off the upset 23-15 and earn the right to face McKeesport this Friday. In the City League, the semifinal got underway at South Stadium Thursday night when the Perry Commodores met their oldest rivals, the Brashear Bullets. It didn't take long for the Perry scoring machine to strike. Brashear quarterback Tom Blumack has the sideline pass picked off by Abu Whitaker, who sprints 19 yards for the first score of the ball game. Minutes later, Whitaker, in his role as the quarterback for Perry, finds a wide-open Ken Roebuck on the play action and the 14-yard score. Perry leads 20-0. With just 59 seconds left, Whitaker comes up big again, this time buying time on the scramble right and going all the way across the field to hit Quentin Durant on the 29-yard touchdown pass. A berth into the championship game was clinched when junior Lewis Waters takes the pitch and scoots around the right end for another score. No question about this outcome. Perry moves on for a shot at the top spot in the City League with their 39-0 win over Brashear. If you put a defending champion into a playoff matchup against a team that won the championship 2 years previous, you have the basic elements of a classic. That was the story Friday night as the Seton LaSalle Rebels traveled to Highlands to face the Golden Rams in our Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week's big game.
Both the Seton LaSalle Rebels and the Highland Golden Rams finished the regular season with identical 7-2-1 records. The first half was nothing but a duel of the defenses with crunching hits from both sides. Highlands went up 3-0 off a 27-yard field goal by Jason Mahilka in the second quarter, and Seton LaSalle picked up the pace. They put together a 15-yard drive that ended in 6 points when tailback Anthony Joseph squirmed in from 1 yard out, and Seton LaSalle led 6-3 at the half. On their first play from the third quarter from their own 24, Highlands' John McClellan pitches to tailback Eric Wade. He stops and goes over the top to find the speedy Rob Pomebo, who outraces the defense for a 76-yard touchdown. Highlands was back in command 10-6. Less than 3 minutes later, Highlands struck again. McClellan finds Pomebo once more over the middle, and this time it's a 40-yard strike, and Highlands' lead was 11 points. Near the end of the third quarter, a 66-yard march put Seton LaSalle on the goal line, 4th and 1. Linebacker Mike Howard led the defense for Highlands and stops Anthony Joseph short of the end zone. It was 4 and out for Highlands, and a short punt gave Seton LaSalle great field position. 3 short plays was all it took as Morrow Mons unleashed his arm to connect with wideout Rob Locke, and the Highlands lead was only 17-12. 2 series later, Highlands had possession with just under 6 minutes left on the clock. McClellan tried to pass down the sidelines, but Rob Locke stepped in to intercept and brought the ball across midfield. The Rebels jumped on the opportunity, using their ground game to bull their way to the doorstep of Pater. Fullback Joe Neckerman got the final call and jammed in the winning score with 1 minute left to play. The amazing comeback gave Seton LaSalle new life with a 1-point edge, 18-17. Afterwards, Mike Howard said that very little separated the two teams.
Yeah, I mean, it was even both ways. When they needed the first down or the touchdown, they got it. We just couldn't punch it, so, that's just about all you can say. Our defense just didn't play up to caliber.
Seton LaSalle QB Morrow Mons was confident their offense would pull them through.
Well, we knew we were peaking. We stuck with our game plan at half. We just knew we had to come out and execute second half. They're a heck of a team. They gave us all we could have. We're ready for TJ.
So for the Rebels of Seton LaSalle, their dream of repeating as AAA champs is alive, but just barely, as they squeak past a very tough Highlands team in the big game. For the Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week show, I'm Keith James.
And it doesn't get any easier for the Seton LaSalle Rebels. They'll take on the winners of the Big 7 Conference, the Jaguars at Thomas Jefferson, who own a perfect 10-0 record. Well, getting into the playoffs is one thing, but a team has to win to advance, and then they face even stiffer competition. A look at our Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week scoreboard will give us an idea of who might be going somewhere. Another upset at the Quad A level had the Penn Hills Indians bumping off Penn Trafford yesterday, 16-6. They move on to play the Quad South winner, Connellsville. Woodland Hills will face Upper St. Clair by virtue of their tough win against Hempfield. In that game, Gerald Thompson logged 3 touchdowns. McGuffey outslugged Yock to advance into the AAA quarterfinals against Valley. Greensburg-Salem shut out Peters, but will need more offense next Friday when they travel to Blackhawk. In AA, Charleroi edged Apollo Ridge, and they'll match up against Steel Valley. And Best Center rolled over Washington to gain their quarterfinal berth. The Midwestern Conference winner, Aliquippa, will play host to Beth Center next Friday night. Western Beaver zapped Laurel in their single-A meeting. Now they must make plans for a game against the rugged Farrell Steelers. Madden Reed ran for 238 yards and 3 touchdowns to help Duquesne advance. Monessen will host them in the quarterfinals. And Westinghouse blanked Shenley 13-0 yesterday afternoon to earn the right to play in the City League Championship game. They will face Perry at South Stadium this coming Saturday.
It was 2 different games rolled into one at the WPIAL Girls Soccer Championship, but only one team could make the claim of Top Gun. That's next on the Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week show.
Soccer teams were rated number 2 and 3 in the nation last week. That was before they met on the pitch at Moon High School to battle for the WPIAL Championship. As Sports Week correspondent Keith James reports, it was a Cold War.
The frosty start of the match had the thermometer at only 20 degrees, and it would go down. But it did not stop the bundled-up fans from enjoying one of the best girls' finals in years. The first half belonged to Mount Lebanon, as they used their highly skilled offense to move the ball consistently into the Quaker Valley end. Senior scoring leader Aaron Butcher gave the Quakers the shakes when she clipped the crossbar, but came up empty. The game got a bit rough as both teams dueled scoreless into the second half. Eventually, the swiftness of the Quaker Valley girls started to turn the tide. Angel Veza, Ann Tiramacco, and the others won more balls at midfield, and that helped set up the game winner. Off a direct kick, junior Liz Gott booted the ball over the wall of defenders and curved it past goalkeeper Stephanie Jardine. The goal came with barely 13 minutes left in the game, and even though they continued to pressure, the Mount Lebanon girls couldn't get anything past Liz Needlinger as they lost their third championship game in a row.
We knew they were a good opponent. They're third in the nation, and we had it down their field. It was just a good shot. Nothing we can do about it. It was a great shot.
Midfielder Ann Tiramacco felt the difference in the game was Quaker Valley's strategy to shut down 41-goal scorer Erin Butcher.
We knew, like, whenever she got the ball, to really put some pressure on her so we can slow her down a little bit. I think knowing about the players was one of the best things we could do, and we knew who to stop and how they played.
So in this frigid championship matchup, it was a red-hot goalkeeper and team speed that made the difference for the Lady Quakers, and they are the new champions. For the Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week show, I'm Keith James.
The girls' soccer title wasn't the only soccer crown up for grabs in the past 7 days. A week ago Saturday, both the AAA and AA boys championships were held at Bethel Park. Once again, Sportsweek correspondent Keith James tells us who won and how.
For the third year in a row, the Quaker Valley side qualified for the WPIAL AA Finals, this time against a very talented South Park team. The speed of both squads was impressive, with South Park keeping pace early in the first quarter. Their momentum was stifled, however, as Ben McKnight came up big on this direct kick with just 5 minutes left in that frame. 2 minutes later, Colin McLaughlin had the throw-in for the Quaker Valley team, and McKnight knocked home another one. The quick scores took the wind out of the South Park gang as QV's defense got tougher. In the fourth quarter, McKnight rifled a ball at South Park goalkeeper Matt Lafferty that was too hot to handle, and Phil Oxendine pounced on it for goal number 3. Seth Perkovich joined the scoring when he collected this beauty with just 33 seconds left in the game. And that wrapped up a goal that the close-knit Quakers had been after for 3 seasons, the Gold Championship Trophy.
This team that we had today on this field that won the game, more than ever, is a team. There's not, one player that has to carry us through every game. We're, not only on the field, but off the field, we're all friends, and we just hang out together all the time, and I think that's what you saw here today.
At the AAA level, the Fox Chapel Foxes and Upper St. Clair Panthers got physical. With only 2 losses coming into the match, USC knew it had to play scrappy to get the upper hand on the smaller but swifter Fox Chapel team. The tactic was working until late in the second quarter when forward Elverson Brown came up big on a scramble in front of the goal. That Fox Chapel lead stood until the midpoint of the third quarter when Reed Smith showed his stuff. Dribbling down the sideline, Smith turned on the Jets to blow past the defender and then beat goalkeeper Drew Gerlach for a 2-0 Fox Chapel lead. The Panthers came right back, and less than 3 minutes later, got a great effort from junior Newt Sater on this header. But it was not in time to turn the tide for the Panthers. Fox Chapel wrapped up the championship despite being targeted as the smaller team.
I think all the games we've played so far have been like when we played NA and Norwin, they're all big teams. I don't think we're especially a really big team. And yeah, they play really physical. But if you match the play, then it all kind of evens out.
The championship for Mark Perry's team serves as a fitting finale for an impressive, undefeated 23-0 season.
It's awesome. There's no words to describe it, especially for my senior year. It's just incredible.
All the teams qualified for the PIAA State Soccer Playoffs, and next week we'll bring you an update on who won and how far they've gone. The playoffs is one time of year that you can be guaranteed of changes in the football rankings. So let's see who went where with our Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week's top teams. Across the state, many of the top 10 received byes in the first round of the playoffs, so the rankings are unchanged. McKeesport remains 9th and Upper St. Clair is 6th. North Allegheny is rated 3rd best in the state. Connellsville is listed as number 2, and Central Bucks West is still number 1. Westinghouse and Perry will battle for the number 1 spot in the City League Championship next Saturday, while Brashear finishes 3rd and Shenley 4th. At the single A level, Rochester won to remain behind Farrell. Steel Valley heads the AA list heading into the quarterfinals. Blackhawk is followed by Thomas Jefferson in the AAA rankings, and the Quad A list is headed by Connellsville, followed by North Allegheny, Upper St. Clair, McKeesport, and Mount Lebanon. Well, once again, we'd like to thank you for keeping in touch with us on our Foodland Pepsi High School Hotline. That number is 859-3300. The suggestions for special athletes and events have been a big help, but of course, we can always use more. So call if you like, or better yet, send us a letter with all the facts. Our address is 3 Norfolk Drive, Coraopolis, PA, and the zip code is 15108.
These kids are up in the air with their chosen sport. So saddle up for that ride next on the Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week show.
To high school, they want to do more than just hit the lonesome trail, so they get competitive.
There's still plenty of wide open spaces in western Pennsylvania and lots of farms that provide ideal conditions for horseback riding. But for a number of high school kids, they've turned their desire to ride into athletic competition. This is the Bar G Farm, where 20 students from a variety of schools take instructions in the equestrian sport of jumping, something quite out of the ordinary.
Yes, it is quite unusual, but mostly I like working with the animals too, and just the thrill of just going over the jumps and everything. It just really blows my mind away.
Competing in equestrian events takes hours of dedication, with most of these kids practicing their jumps every day of the week to develop their skills.
Well, you really have to know what you're doing, and you have to have a good horse under you, and you have to be a good rider yourself, and everybody out there that you're competing against really knows what they're doing.
Chad Cherok's work has paid off with a championship in his regional class last year, but his vision, like many of the other athletes, goes beyond the competition.
My goal is to be an instructor when I get out of school, and I really want to do something with horses, so I'm working towards being an instructor.
There's plenty of hard work in grooming the horses and taking care of the equipment, but that doesn't change the determination of these kids as they ride the path of a different type of athletic competition. Keith James reporting for the Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week show.
With an eye on the Jumping Nationals next year, 4 students from the Bar G Farm are competing in Cleveland this weekend, hoping to qualify. Well, there's nothing more gratifying than coming up big in a big game. Liz Needlinger, the goalkeeper for the Quaker Valley girls soccer team, did just that this past Monday in the Whitfield Championship game. And for her effort, she has been selected as our Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week's Athlete of the Week.
The soccer term for a goalkeeper having a great game is plain unconscious. If that is true, Liz Needlinger may never want to wake up. Her play was a key in Quaker Valley's championship win against a monstrously talented Mount Lebanon squad that was rated second in the nation and was used to scoring 3, 4, and 5 goals a game. Against the QV Junior, Mount Lebanon did not score at all. It was not easy for Liz as the Blue Devils attacked ferociously in the first half, but she came up with 9 big saves then. Her leaping grabs kept Lebo at bay and gave her teammates time to find their game and time to win. The shutout was earned, according to Liz, by her concentration and desire.
I wanted them really bad, really, really bad. So that's what kind of made me go after everything. I didn't want to see them score. I wanted to keep it a shutout.
Her teammates know how important her role was, but she almost wasn't in goal. At the beginning of the season, Liz was listed as a midfielder.
We didn't really have a keeper in the beginning, and Mr. Vezza was like, well, who can be a keeper? And they all said I could. And I got in there, and he liked what I did, and I've been taking goalie sessions in the winter, and that's kind of helping a lot.
And the next goal for this young lady is to help her team repeat as champions when she returns to goal next year. Liz Needlinger from Quaker Valley, our Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week Athlete of the Week.
This past Thursday, the Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week crew made a stop at Greensburg Central Catholic. We were there to present Stacy Aber with her plaques, and she was selected as last Sunday's Athlete of the Week. Bob Avalone and David North were on hand from Pepsi, and Stacy's parents looked on with pride as her daughter was honored for earning her 2nd state championship in ladies golf. Congratulations to Stacy, and we want to wish her good luck as she attends North Carolina next year.
Hi, we're the cheerleaders and Blue Devils from Mount Lebanon High School, and we want you to stick around for more action from the Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week show.
There's a lot of sports that we don't want you to miss. Here's Keith James with a look ahead so you know what to look for.
It's the end of the line in the world of ladies volleyball, and next week we'll show you how Western Pennsylvania teams did in the state finals. Also, we'll take you into the huddle of a bunch of gals who mean serious business on the gridiron as the girls from Quigley High School play their own brand of football. The boys football teams that receive first-round byes will get into the playoff picture, and some games of interest will include a Quad A showdown between the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils and North Allegheny. Seton LaSalle advances in the AAA ranks, but must travel down Route 51 to face Thomas Jefferson next Friday. At the AA level, the South Park Eagles will play host to the Beaver Falls Tigers. And a single-A matchup that is sure to attract a large crowd has Rochester at Riverview.
And one more game to look forward to. Saturday, November 16th at South Stadium, Perry will face Westinghouse in the City League Championship. Well, we're down to the final few weeks in the Foodland Pepsi Battle for the Bucks, where your school could win their share of $10,000 grand prize. Call 1-800-433-COLA for your entry package. Then get your classmates to collect proof of purchase seals from Pepsi 12-packs and Foodland cash register receipts. Gather them together, turn them in before November 22nd, and you might be on our show as your school's representative. Don't forget, the deadline is November 22nd in the Foodland Pepsi Battle for the Bucks. Well, as the old saying goes, it's been fun, hey, but we're done. I'm Mark Malone wishing you all the best, and I want you to go out and tell all your friends to make sure they watch next week. And we'll see you the next time on the Foodland Pepsi High School Sports Week show.